Okay, so the next step in our monthly report process is to obviously fill in these two, which we don't really have a volume for recon yet. We're working on that one with the dozer. Hopefully in time we'll get that dialed in. And then really the meat and potatoes is the volume change in the working phase. So how do we get that? Well, we use Carlson Command to basically drive that side of the survey. So that's the beauty in Carlson Command, is I can pull that up and be able to use it as a source for determining in discrete points of time basically how much volume we took up over time. And so it's very handy in that regard. Okay, so I want to start a report in Carlson. So I've gone to basically the Carlson Command login and logged in, and I have it also as a favorite on my browser, so I can pull it right up as an IP address. And so when I go to reporting, I go to AUF report. Okay, and then I'm going to put the parameters of that report in here. I'll be right back as I fix those and discuss those in just a second. Okay, so what I've done is I put in March 1st as my start date and March 31st is my end date. We don't need to change the base grid. Our total weight is where we go back to the spreadsheet that I was talking about earlier, the important number being 9,296 tons. That includes the dirt, the ADC in the form of paper millings, and our MSW disposal. So very helpful in using that. So I'll go ahead and take that number of 9,296 tons, enter it here, and we use typically about a foot of cover. The minimum fill depth, I can keep that to half a foot. If I make that bigger, it kind of weeds out some of the data, but not to our benefit. It actually collects more information depth-wise, so that when there's a change in basically a half a foot, it takes that volume calculation into control or into account. And so typically you want to keep that at half a foot. You can get up to a foot, but I've noticed it does skew the numbers a little bit as far as the volumes that are accounted for. And so the max color value, this is more for aesthetics. You can play around with that. I've found that the minimum fill area tends to be around 5,000 square feet. Once you get below 5,000 square foot, you kind of get into these weird areas where maybe the compactor or the dozer drove but didn't really collect valuable data, and you start to get way too many dots and lines, if you will, or just too many points collected. So that really try and keep that at 5,000. You can go down if you want to for experimentation's sake, but I think that 5,000 is probably the best number to get where your gross volume changes really are occurring in the working phase. So I'll go ahead and submit that and then come right back. Actually, we're going to move this on to step the next step so that we can not take up too much data in this particular video. So I'll come back for the next step or return for the next